Hey guys, finally I'm here with part 2. Finally, after a long time. I said it was soon, but I had some other jobs to do, and got some problems, some issues to solve. But I finally got to spend a little bit more of time on this project and finish it. I kind of already had most of the sculpting process that you guys are seeing now already recorded, but I wanted to finish it, to render to in Blender, to add textures, and I still hadn't done it. But yeah, here we are finally. I'm getting this video for you guys, and as you can see now, I'm adding this high detail on the skin, like the pores. And as you could see, I started without symmetry, and then I thought, no, I'm not doing this without symmetry. I'm just going to waste a lot of time here. And for this brush, I made a simple image file in Krita. I saw how a pore is, like a star. And because I couldn't find one online. Probably you can, but I didn't want to search a lot. I usually don't take I never took my sculpts to this level. I just wanted to see where 3DCoat could go. In this case, I'm using the Auto-subdivision mode still, and so the vertices are being added on the fly, like Sculptors Pro. And you can follow the poly count on the bottom of the software of the window. And it's on speed mode here, but it was working flawlessly. You have like millions of polygons and it's working flawlessly. I don't know which magic 3DCoat does, but Auto-subdivide is just amazing. For some things, each person has their own method of sculpting, and some prefer to use the multi-resolution way of sculpting, which there is now in 3DCoat. On the newest updates of 3DCoat, they now have like a multi-resolution mode. I still have to try that. I tried it very quickly, and I don't know how good it is. I don't know if you can project the mesh to the multi-resolution mesh, because usually in Blender or ZBrush you start sculpting and using Dynamesh to remesh and with a basic concept of your sculpt. And when you have a good amount of details that you want, not a lot of details, but the basic structure of your sculpt, and then you want to add the details, then you say, okay, I'm going to remesh this to auto remesh, auto retopologize it, and then you project and then you subdivide this remeshed mesh, and then you project the details that you made, that were not a lot, but you have the shape. You project to this new, more cleaner topology mesh, and then you start subdividing and adding more details. So I don't know if 3DCoat you can project the mesh. I still don't know. I have to look that out when and if I'm going to use this multi-resolution mode, because it's useful, definitely, because when you start adding details and then you see, oh no, I want to change a little bit of the basic shape, and then you go back to a lower subdivision and you work, and it's faster and it's easier to move big shapes around, like you do in Blender or ZBrush. I mean, Blender now has a quite good multi-resolution mode. It's not ZBrush-like yet, but you definitely can use it. Before you couldn't use it, it was unusable, but right now with Blender 3.5 and the guys are adding a lot of stuff, it's very good. But so maybe I don't know if I'm going to put this on a video, a test of the multi-resolution here in 3DCoat. Maybe I will, maybe I don't, because right now where I stand, I want to focus more on like concept sculpting, more fast sculpting, and voxel sculpting, which 3DCoat is amazing for. And that's what I'm aiming forwards to the next project. And I already started one very quick and study, and I recorded it, and I just have to put it as a video for you guys. So I will probably, I will never say something that I will definitely do this, because I mean I am crazy. I don't know, I keep changing my mind all the time, but that's what I mean right now. I want to focus more on like rough clay, like concept studies, and see what I can do in concept art in 3DCoat, you know. Because I learned quite a lot in this Cyberpunk Lady project, but it's not something I really enjoy doing, like taking things to this level. I just wanted to try it and see how far 3DCoat could go, and I think it can even go further. It's an amazing tool. Right now we'll have some problems with sculpting layers later on, but it's something that I'll talk later on the video when it shows up. So here it's just that, it's the tedious process of adding pore by pore. I created this brush, as I said, and I'm using Auto-subdivide, and I'm using kind of the anchored type of brush method. You know, when you press E on your keyboard, when you have any brush you have, there will pop up a window with many modes of sculpting. If you want spacing, anchored, or drag dots, these kind of things, you know, lasso, circle, square, they just popped up very quickly. But so yeah, for these parts I'm using, I think it's drag dot. Yes, it's like you click with your mouse or your pen, and it adds that stroke, and you can move it around the mesh with the same size that you added. So it was fast because I was really quickly pressing with my stylus, adding details. I think it's better than the anchored, because the anchor you have to press and then scale it to the size that you want. So it would be worse to maintain the size of the pores, and it would be more time consuming, because it was like 2 actions. I have to put it and scale it. On this method I'm using here, I'm just putting and putting and putting, and always the same size. And I kept mindful of the strength of the brush, so I wouldn't be changing it, although maybe sometimes I did, but not too much. And one thing you must consider here, you guys, when you do this, you can make much better studies of how the skin behaves on the face and the neck, because I'm adding these pores all around, but I'm not really sure if that's how it's supposed to be. I use reference, but I didn't have this amount of details reference, or I didn't want to I mean make another brush or using only the dam standard to the pink brush in this case to make different patterns of skin. So I just used this one all around. I think at some point I stopped doing this drag dot method and started like airbrushing, like more than one, you know, with scatter applied. But I think it didn't work out because I mean, in this method you really have the precision to like put a pore by side of the pore, you know. They don't overlap, they don't become with a different distance from one another. Of course they do, but you try to keep them at the same distance from each other, from one another. And also because I'm here, it's a study, and I've seen like Chris Costa, the Anthropos, doing his sculptures, and yeah, he makes pore by pore even much more detailed than this. The guy is amazing with his realism, and I mean, he makes people, you know, like you can barely see the difference from the real person to his sculptures. So yeah, for what I want to do, I mean, right now it's good to make these types of study. It's always good to study anatomy and how every aspect of the human body parts, I don't know how you can say, like in this case the skin behaves. So you know, you can study the muscle and the gesture and everything. So in this study I wanted to focus first on a woman sculpture, because it's harder to do, you know. The more for me at least, making a man, it's easier because it's rougher, and on the female anatomy you have to be very precise, and you have like subtle forms and shapes. So and how I could then add the texture of the skin without making her look like she was old or something like that, you know. So it was good study for that. Right now I'm making the iris, and as you will see, I will have a little bit of a problem with it. Yeah, so the auto-subdivision feature is just amazing in 3DCoat. Very good. Of course I'm not working this fast in real life, but in real time it was working quite well. Very well. I didn't have lag at all. Probably if you grab a very big brush with a lot of detail and stripe it across the woman's face, I mean, probably it will lag if you have auto-subdivision on. Especially if you have a small brush and make a long movement across the entire mesh, because the auto-subdivision mode here in 3DCoat works with brush size detail. So the smaller the brush size, the higher the detail. So it will get. So here's the problem I was talking about, and I think this problem was related to a specific brush I use. I don't remember which one, sorry about that, but especially because of using scope layers. Yeah, so something I do not recommend for you guys, as you can see, you see now, and later on in the face I will also have a problem with that. Don't use sculpting layers when you're using auto-subdivision, I guess. For me it didn't work right? I think it's because I'm using auto-subdivision. Probably if you're just remeshing or having multi-resolution, it works fine. But for me, I had this problem, so I had to kind of delete the... Yeah, so here, as you could see, I turned to the base layer. So yeah, it's like you add details on the top layer and then you start messing around with the lower layer, and then you can have some problems, some mesh, how can you say that? Yeah, some mesh problems. I don't know how to put that. So I don't recommend. Maybe I did something wrong, you know, because 3DCoat is like, it's amazing, but you learn day by day what it does, and they change it a lot. I mean, the newest updates, you can have some new changes. There's a new update I made, and it has a pop-up saying that you have Windows installation KL, etc., and he says it's the name of an update in Windows 11, and says this can slow down a little bit of 3DCoat, so we recommend uninstalling. The good thing is that they tell you how to uninstall it, because I wouldn't know how to uninstall a part of an update in Windows, so it's quite easy. So I do uninstall it, but then Windows auto updates and it asks again. So yeah, that's a bummer, and I hope they fix this on newer updates and you don't have to uninstall anything on your Windows, because usually I like to keep my Windows updated because of security reasons and whatever. Just ask for me to update, and I do update. So yeah, that's a problem. I didn't see the slowdown effectively, but if they say it's slowing down, I just delete it, and maybe you guys will see that pop up too and just do that, or not. I don't know if it's a security problem, you know, because it's a security update, so keep that in mind. So yes, as you could see, I remade the iris, and I just kept to the base layer, as you can see, so I didn't have problems with layers and stuff. I kept seeing reference. I think I should have made the iris more concave, you know, the pupil should be more inside, like the eye hole, that I don't know, I think it's pupil, and it should be more convex. I will feel that later on when I'm rendering, and I really want that lighting that gets on the bottom of the iris, you know, because of the concave shape, and it appears it's there, but it's not very prominent as it should be. I could just have changed the lower topology I had later on Blender itself, but I didn't think of that. I'm just thinking about it right now. And as you can see here, I'm adding more skin details, like there's this stretch on the eyelids, you know, because you open and close them a lot, and there's this wrinkles, and also on I think on the transition of the lips to the skin. I was using reference. I'm making the best I can, but you definitely can find better reference and add more details, because I'm just kind of adding like this, how can you say, lower details. It's like I'm carving on the surface. I'm not adding, I'm subtracting. Yes, that's the word I was looking for. I'm just subtracting. And there is also adding to the skin texture. You can just add bumps, you know, like little pimples, dimples, I don't know how you call that. I should have made that, but I didn't get to this level, you know. I was seeing a character a friend of mine made, Gustavo Baraldi, recently, and he's very good. You can search for him on Instagram, Gustavo Baraldi, and the guy is amazing with realistic characters. He's making these horn guys right now. Horn guy. Oh god, I said something wrong. Like a guy who has horns. So, yeah, he is making it, and I was getting a look at the details, and I saw that there is these little pimples. So here, as you can see, I had this terrible problem with the layer on the skin. So I had the layer for the pores, and then I started adding and changing something on a lower layer, and I had this like issues with the surface. So goddamn, it was really annoying. So I just brushed out those little rectangles that were there and started trying to reclaim the detail that I had, you know. At the end, on the render, you can't really see, but I didn't really like it, this problem. And it's kind of like she had acne and had these scars, so it doesn't really appear. And I mean, yeah, she had like acne and pressed on them and got scars. So yeah, as I was saying, the skin also, it's very complex. So it also has these bumps, these little dimples and pimples. I don't know how you call that in English. So like small balls, like here and there. Yeah, and I didn't add it on her, but if you're going to do that, you could look out for reference. So here, the render room is amazing for like seeing your sculpture in a different lighting, you know. It's very, very good to have that in 3DCoat. And here, see, yeah, I had a little bit of these little pimples, but it was just not too much. I could have added more. I didn't even remember it. So yeah, on the nose, like you have this little black stuff that I don't remember. I don't even know the name in English. Yeah, so although it's this this stage of sculpting, it's quite tedious. I mean, you can just put a podcast, a YouTube video, whatever you want, and because it's very automatic. I mean, you must be aware of what you're doing, but it's much more automatic than when you are making the primary shapes and thinking about what this design wants to mean, you know. Yeah, so it's very automatic stage. So here I think I'm just scattering the boards all around, because I mean, nobody's going to look at the neck this close. So I was just bored of that. Yeah. And I think that's why I took so long to make this video, you know, for you guys and to finish it up, because I was just tired of this project, and I had a job in the middle that I needed to stop for it. And so, you know, I'm not very good at spending too much time on one single project. Yeah, that's why I think I want to focus more on sculpting studies and, you know, the characters. Yeah, I want to experiment more on this with voxel sculpting in 3DCoat. You know, kind of like, I don't know if you guys have seen his channel. It's L'Espatio de Futur, something like that. He makes this. I'll try to put the link on the description if I remember. I mean, this guy makes amazing sculptings and concepts on ZBrush Core, and they're very, very nice and unique concepts that he makes directly in 3D software, because you know we are used to think the 3D software as a final end production tool, you know, like you're going to make this model that's going to be retopologized and sent to the game or whatever. But it's also amazing to think about your characters or your ideas or concept, whatever, you know, to idealize the concepts already in 3D. It's a tool for that. So yeah, you guys should check him out. You know, he has amazing concepts done in ZBrush Core. So yeah, I want to do something similar here in 3DCoat, and the good thing about 3DCoat is that you can use the voxels, and the voxel sculpting is amazing for concepting. It's kind of like you're drawing on a sketchbook sometimes. So yeah, here I'm back to her clothes, and I just wanted to add more like sci-fi details. So here, yeah, this is concepting and with voxels, you know. I mean, I'm just drawing out the shapes, and I mean, it's amazing to do that here. It's amazing. You can add hard surface or organic parts the way you want. I mean, I just want to add some noise, some tech noise like cyberpunk, but not, I won't add too much detail, you know. I won't like subdivide this extremely and put a lot of detail, because I don't want this to be the focus of this study, you know. I just wanted to give her this cyberpunk kind of jacket, you know, that I will texture later on. Just put a simple texture. And I will already say it, I didn't record the texturing and the auto retopology part, because I mean, I'm not very good at it. I'm not saying that I'm good at sculpting, but I'm really learning a lot. I mean, the baby steps of it. So I didn't want to spend time here in the video just showing something that I'm learning. And of course I could, but you know, I was struggling a lot, especially with the retopology part. I was struggling a lot, you know. It's not very good to use the auto retopo with symmetry on in 3DCoat for some reason. I don't know, I had a little bit of problems. So yeah, I didn't record it, but I have some screenshots of the texture that I will put later on. And yes, I wanted also to keep this video more sculpting focused. Yeah, if later on I do again something like this, I will try to record, and yes, but not this time. So here I'm just adding, and you can see how it's amazing to add these details with voxels and 3DCoat, and you can add these primitive objects. I also, at some point, I wanted to add them like not like moving like I'm doing right now, but I wanted just to press on the surface and it appears. There is a mode for that, but it wasn't working properly. When I pressed it, the object would appear somewhere else. So yeah, keep that in mind. So yeah, here it worked, but then when I changed the object, it didn't work anymore. So okay. looks like she has some headsets. So yeah, so this part is basically concepting in real time. Like, it's good to have these primitives in 3DCoat, and then you can cut out them and give this sci-fi look. Everything is sci-fi today. I mean, cyberpunk and whatever. Here, as you can see, I already textured it. I auto-retopologized it and baked the information like the normals, and added just paint and a little bit of glossiness here and there. And it's pretty much straightforward if you want to do this. Like, I didn't record it because, as I said, I'm not very comfortable with this still, but maybe later I'll do something like that. Here it's very good to keep seeing how it looks rendered. So I bring it to Blender and already start putting the hair with the new hair system. I'm also learning that, so that's why I didn't like record it, because I had a lot of hard time with it and it looks like she has a wig. And so yeah, there are plenty more of good videos for that in Blender. So yeah, that's the result, guys. Hope you like it, and try 3DCoat and Blender for yourselves and just have fun, and yeah, and do this hair stuff. Oh yeah, that's it. Thanks.